So I wanted to make some exclusive videos for our Discord users, just casual conversation, me talking mostly about an episode that's recently come out and kind of talking about why I did things or things that I cut out or, how I did a certain effect or something like that. This is the first one that I'm going to be trying, so let me know what you guys think about it. And maybe in the future, if I ever decide to start a Patreon, maybe something like this would be something that I'd move over there or something. But for now, it's just going to be for Discord users, and these will all be unpublished videos or unlisted videos. So like I said in the video, like my ability to code and understand and do things in Minecraft has actually gotten a lot better over the years and time since I started actually making this, even since the Igneous video, which is like one of the first videos that I used this hole here for. I'm gonna get back to the ore being exposed. But I used to have like a whole section over here that I covered up now. There used to be a section right here that was just a whole bunch of command blocks. If you look at the old world download, which I don't know if that's still available, but you can see, oh yeah, you can see some down here. Oh no, I got rid of the command blocks. These are what's left over. But this was all filled with command blocks that would go down, like level by level and clear everything out. And now all of this is done in a function. Yeah, so now each button up there basically has its own thing where execute if this matches a certain number, and then it fills all of it with air and only replacing andesite. And so then it just loops on itself until it gets all the way down to the bottom. But the histogram thing, this is all made possible with a new edition in 1.20.4 or 1.20.3, I forget. It wasn't a major version, but they added the ability to, when you summon a display entity, to give it a teleport duration time. And when you teleport a block, it will just, I actually haven't run it like this before with the blocks there. That's cool. You can tell it how long to take teleporting. And so I knew the position of every single ore block in this hole. And then I calculated its distance from where it was at over to the corner. And then I scaled it proportionally to like how long I wanted it to take. So like every layer wasn't just taking 10 seconds, but like blocks that are closer only took, a couple seconds, and the ones farther away took longer. So they had a consistent, all of them had the same speed going in there. And I think that made the effect look a lot better. And these are all just display entities here. These are all blocks that are just spread out. This is like the different concrete blocks. They're just really skinny and stretched out and thin. But overall, I like the effect. I tried to do this with like the actual ore blocks. It just looked really messy. I was going to try to like stack a whole bunch and just keep stacking them. But I think the effect of it actually growing looked better than it just became a little bit too noisy and messy. And I think the main, attraction was having the blocks actually fly across, and then just having this all as these like flat colors, I think helped out the effect a lot better. And I'm probably going to do a tutorial on like how I set up my functions and all that stuff to work at some point. But let's reset and then reload that. And then this is all I've in Lightmatica, I saved each one of these slices as a schematic. And then I'm loading each one of those in like piece by piece by piece to put everything back to how it was. But it runs a lot smoother than the way I was doing it before. And this Washington Monument thing, I kind of had this already built at the early part of the like when I was building this whole area, and I was going to talk about it early, but it really didn't fit the pacing, and I was thinking about just cutting it out entirely. But in the end, I just kept it in. I like that story, and I like having that big chunk of aluminum in my garage. And I like that somebody commented about this lapis and my take on enchanting not being magical. Like, it's like they've said like, yeah, it's literally magic. You are enchanting the tool. It's literally magic. And yeah, I gotta say yes, but I had to make assumptions for the rest of like the real life stuff. So that's just how I worked with it. I tried to figure out like the least interesting over to like the more interesting things along this like pathway and stuff. And so, with the lapis, I didn't really have anything to say too much. For Earth, real life stuff, redstone, it's neat. I'll probably do a video in the future. I had a lot of posts talking about how Bedrock Edition says that there's uranium in there if you use the Education Edition material reducer. I'm currently making a video where I'm I guess kind of trashing on the Education Edition for its what I see as major shortcomings, but you guys will see that soon, or it might be out when you see this. So anyway, I'll probably do a speculation episode on redstone. I think it's neat. I think it's neat to think about the world and try to make it fit with things that we know and figure things out. It's fun to, geek out about that sort of stuff. Yeah. For the gold, I was pretty surprised. I figured we made more gold than that in a year. Copper, I actually made a math error early on, and I caught it later when I cleaned up my spreadsheets, which, if you ever wonder what it takes to do these episodes, it takes a lot of knowledge of Excel. This is my Excel sheet, or this is my Google sheet for this ore episode. This is actually the histogram kind of loaded in sideways. Lower elevation down here, and upper you can kind of see everything. And this is the location of every single ore block in that hole. I forgot how many there are. It goes down to 28,000. And the only reason I was able to do this is there is a mod that actually exports block position to like a CSV file that I could just directly import into like a Google sheet, and I could not have done this without it. But yeah, this is my sheet. So I have like all of the facts where I did all the math and everything. And this is where I did the error for the copper. I had some conversion done over here. I read it as tons, and it was like thousands of tons or something like that, but it ended up making that copper like way more than the initial one was like the same size as the Minecraft blocks basically. But yeah, just lots and lots of tabs of different functions and math and lots of things. This is a whole tab just to do the labels for like how many tons of rocks and all that stuff for all of this stuff here. Diamonds actually surprised me too with the industrial grade, because I figured there'd be a lot more than there was. With the iron and coal, I had several commenters tell me that I should have tried to use like a level of detail mod, like Distant Horizons, or there's a couple other ones out, and I did. I tried that, but this Distant Horizon kept crashing. They have issues dealing with like that higher build limit. But since the video came out, there's a mod called Invidium. Okay, here we go. So 256 chunk loading distance. And now we can actually mostly see everything. Got a little section back there that's not loaded on the coal cube, but that's the corner over there, corner there. There's our iron cube, and there is the platform all the way down there. For the Earth crust demonstration, I made all of this like one Saturday morning. My wife like suggested that I do it because there was a section where I was basically kind of giving the same information I was giving here, but you're just staring at my face. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Let me see how quickly I can like throw something together. So I was initially going to do this. I ended up cutting out a whole section, kind of condensing it down into what this is, because I was going to talk about like the elemental concentration of the crust and how ore, basically the steps that we go from like a homogeneous solar system or universe and how the elements get concentrated. And so, Earth has more heavier elements than the sun, like if you're looking at the total like percentages. And I also kind of lying. Earth was never truly homogeneous. Like this process was going on continually ever since the first clumps were starting to come together. And I didn't talk about, there's this great term called the iron catastrophe, where it's a theorized part where, eventually you had enough, the Earth wasn't really like a molten ball, but there was a point when gravity was pulling these heavier iron bits down, and as they were being pulled, that increased friction heated things up, and then eventually got to a point where the Earth was liquid enough that things just happened, and they kind of just that was like a feedback loop. So more iron was able to move because it was hotter and more liquid, and then it got hotter, and eventually it got to the point where it built up, and everything was just sinking and floating, and ended up how we are like today. Not really today. We're still cooling down. Eventually the Earth will be just a solid mass again. But yeah, a lot of times when I start making an episode, it's relatively short in my mind. And then as I'm working on it, it's like, well, I could have a visualization for this. I could do this better. I could do that. Or like, there's like, hey, I could talk about this topic and this is really interesting. This episode's a really good example of that because I wasn't actually going to do this episode. The only reason I'm doing this episode, or I did this episode, was because I felt like I needed an intro into ores. And because all of the other ores are so different and they're going to be on their own episodes, I really just needed something that was like, I needed to get everybody up to like the same like level of knowledge. And so when I was first thinking about this episode, I didn't really know what I was going to put into it. And I thought that like, it's probably going to be too short. And then I came across that USGS publication, and I was just thinking about it myself and how it would compare to this hole. And I'm actually like really happy because just by circumstance of me picking that size like a year ago, the hole produced, some more and some less than Earth. So it was a good comparison. But yeah, so I ended up cutting out, this whole crustal things. I was going to talk about meteorites, and it was just like a rabbit hole that I ended up going down. And I was like, no, this doesn't fit well. I can't figure out how to do it. So I just ended up cutting a lot of that stuff out. And I'm happy. I'm very happy with like adding this reduced part back in, and the episode as a whole. Probably one of my better episodes, like that I was really proud of. To go along with that, God, I had so many technical issues like doing this. I had an audio issue that was like persisting for like a week, and now I have it figured out. I think at least I've gotten rid of it. I ended up having to buy a new microphone, and I still don't think that was the issue. My old microphone's probably just fine. I kept having issues with like the audio level dropping like mid-sentence, or it was sounding like it was recorded at like a lower bit rate. I couldn't make it reproducible consistently. Probably a third, maybe a quarter of the video, I actually had my laptop set up next to me and was recording on my laptop, and then having to take that audio off my laptop and then put it over here to like record over like things as I'm like recording it, because it was only on this one computer for some reason, the computer I'm using. Let's check out the Nether stuff. I wasn't really happy with the Nether. I guess I have gamma turned off too now, so you can actually see everything. I did like the visuals. I like the visuals of having it like all come down and like swell up. That was I did enjoy making that. And I will have to put out a correction because this is not 6.2 cubic meters. It's 238 cubic meters. It's 6.2 meters on like a side, but I did that incorrectly on both of these. I need to go back and actually change that in the world and then put it up in the world download. But small mistake. And the ancient debris, yeah, I don't know what to say about it. There will be a speculation video, or I have one in mind, and I have like my take and angle on it like already, in my mind. But we'll see. It'll be fun when we get there. You can barely see that this actually this block actually gets bigger. There we go. I thought maybe I should have done a better visualization like for that, because all the blocks are below me and you can't see them actually coming up into it very, very well. But yeah, at this point I'd spent so long on this episode that I was like, I just need to get something out, because it's been almost a month since the last thing that I did. Let me reset this. So this is all done with the same exact code as the overworld stuff. And then as soon as those are overtaken, at the very end, it kills all those displays. Let's see, the Bastion. This is another mistake. So in the episode, I said that you could smelt gilded blackstone, and that is incorrect. I misremembered. You can, if you break gilded blackstone without silk touch, there's a chance that it will just give you a nugget. Kind of like if you dig gravel without silk touch, you can get flint sometimes. So I knew that, and then I just misremembered it, and then wrote it down in the script as you can smelt it. Several commenters said that there was some statement by Mojang saying that this, when they added this block, that it was supposed to be that there was just enough gold around here that the piglins fell in and it got ground into the rock. And I haven't found that information anywhere. So I don't know. I think it's still worth debating whether or not this blackstone is a natural material or not. It has to be natural. I mean, who's making all this stuff? But just whether or not it's actual comparable to a real life rock, I guess. All right, yeah. So ultimately, like I said, very happy with how the episode went. I'm really feel like the visuals and everything came together very well, and I had a real good time putting it all together. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think about this video. If this is something that you guys would like. I think it's a relatively low. I won't say low effort. I just don't have to spend a lot of time putting it together, writing a script, editing it, and all of that. So it just allows me to interact with you a little bit more. This is the first one that I'm doing. I'm going to do one. This is actually after the OK Lab video came out, and I'm probably going to do one of these on that one real quick. But thanks, guys. Chat later.